So if you're not comfortable with showing your face, then it's okay. Okay, so welcome to the Twitter Data Scraping with Python workshop. I think there'll be some people that will be joining us later, but yeah, we can get started now. Okay, so this workshop will have a more different format because there is some processes that you have to do before to scrape Twitter data. So I think I sent out a document to everyone here. You should probably sign up for a Twitter developer account. And if you can just like raise your hand on Zoom to let me know if you guys have actually successfully gotten a Twitter developer account. Yeah, it was through email, but you might have signed up for the, okay, so you were unable to. Okay, that's tricky. Yeah, so the way I actually signed up for a Twitter developer account was because I was working on a research project and I needed to apply for it. So, okay, that's okay. Maybe like if you guys are very interested into this topic, then you guys can directly message me on Discord like today or tomorrow, and then we can try and help you sign up for an account because you guys should be able to sign up for it, and I'm not sure why you can't do it. So we can work together to work that out. Okay, and then for now, we're just gonna get started. So if you don't have a Twitter developer account, it's hard for you to follow along and actually like scrape data. But if you do have one, then you can follow along. So for the people that don't have it, I can just go over all of the steps that you need to take in order to get data. And then after you've applied and gotten a verified Twitter developer account, then you can rewatch this workshop and actually scrape some data. Okay, so for everyone that has it, please go to either terminal if you're on MacBook or shell on Windows and type in pip install tweetpy. So tweetpy is an API offered by Twitter and Python. It's like Twitter and then Python, so tweetpy, to scrape data from Twitter. So if you can, I'm gonna type in the chat, just copy. Type in that, and you should be able to install tweetpy. Okay, so to actually scrape data, we need to authenticate your program. That means that we need to let Twitter know that our project is verified to scrape Twitter data. So in this case, we want to create a tweetpy authentication object. So if you have learned object-oriented programming, an object is basically something that is kind of abstract, but it can provide values or functions. So in this tweetpy authentication object, we can actually add an access token to it. And this access token, if you guys are interested in scraping data, will be in the Twitter developer portal. So I can't show you that because everyone has a unique access token. And if other people know it, then it regenerates the access token so that other people can't use it. So yeah. Okay, so the next step is to actually get data. So I'm gonna go over, for each slide, I'm gonna go over how to do it, and then I'll actually do the example. And yeah, I think that'll be fun. Okay, so first we want to create a user object based on their username. So in this case, I just used my own username, and then I could get data like my screen name, my description, and my status and those things. So yeah, let's try that out. So in here, I already have an authenticate program function, basically that serves to authenticate the program. I did collapse it so that you couldn't see my access token because it is very important. Okay, so I guess everyone in here, is there anyone willing to volunteer to type in a Twitter username that I can use? Or I can just use my own, but I think it'll be funner if everyone could participate. Or it could be anyone, like anyone you know, like the president or like, I don't know. Is there anyone you guys want me to scrape data from? Okay, I'm not seeing anyone, but yeah, feel free to type the people that you want me to scrape data from because I think it's actually pretty fun. So in this case, I'm just gonna do POTUS. That's the president of the United States, and then let's see what their screen name is. I'm using an app called Visual Studio Code, so you could download this from their website. Okay, so here it says their username is just POTUS. Okay, looks good. Okay, so the next part is to get tweets. So we have to create, there's two ways to do this. This is the first way. We have to create a user timeline object that basically stands for everything that you can see on your timeline, on your Twitter timeline. And then this gets the 20 most recent tweets or replies. So yeah, basically I specified the username and then I got their timeline. And then I had a for loop that printed out each tweet from that timeline. So status basically, it's a name for the object, but it basically means the tweet. And I'm printing out the text value of that tweet. So let's try that out. I'm gonna delete this part and then I'm going to do timeline equals API dot user timeline. And then is there anyone you guys want me to scrape? Or you guys could just type in the chat. But... Okay, looks like there's no one. Then I'll use POTUS again. And then for each status object in the timeline object, I'm going to print out the text version or the text value of that status. So, oops. Okay, let's try that out. Okay. So here, first you can see something about vaccination requirements, and then jobs up, wages up, unemployment down. So yeah, some of the things that President Biden has said on Twitter. Okay, so the next thing could be to get a person's followers. So basically, what we're gonna do is we're going to first select a list of all of the followers of a certain user. And then for each user object in that list, we're going to print out the name value of that user. So let's try that out. With this way, you could only print out 20 of the most recent followers. So for user in API.get followers, and I'm just gonna specify my own name. I'm going to print out the user's name. So like that. Oh, actually, no, it's not get followers. It's just followers. Okay, let's run and see. Okay, yeah, as you can see, this is a list of all my followers. Brian, Rashini, Reha, these guys are all from TeenTechSF. So yeah, it's pretty cool. And then the next part is the getting following information. So it's kind of a similar idea as getting followers, but instead this time it's for following. So the only difference is the friends here. And since it's similar, I'm not going to do it again. Okay, so now we can actually code full scripts that can scrape information from Twitter. So the first step is to authenticate. And I already have this step in to my code, so I don't have to code this anymore. But basically what this is doing is it's authenticating my program and telling Twitter that my program is verified to scrape Twitter data. Okay, so now we can actually scrape for tweets. So I'm going to define a new function and I'm going to call it scrape tweets. And then what I'm going to take in is the username as an argument and also a count of how many tweets I want to scrape. So here I'm just going to create a list of tweets. So tweet list. And this is going to be empty since I'll be adding on to this later as I loop through all of the different tweets a user has. Okay, so what I'm going to do is for status. This is what we tried before, for status. And this time, instead of just in a user or user's timeline, we're going to use something called a cursor. So a cursor is basically it's a similar idea as a computer cursor, but basically what it does is it doesn't limit you to how many tweets you want to get, but you do need to specify how many tweets you want to get so that the cursor, quote unquote, can scroll enough for you to get all of the information needed. So for status in TweetPy, which is the API dot cursor, which is what I was talking about. I'm going to do API.userTimeline, which is what we did last time. And then I'm going to specify their username. This username argument comes from here so that when we specify the person that we want to scrape data from, the computer knows who we want to scrape from. Okay, and then from this object, we want to select all of the items in this cursor. So it would include the tweets because we're specifying user timeline here, which can only come from tweets and not following and follower information. So the items will stand for tweets, and then in that we specify how many tweets we want to scrape. Okay, so now the only thing we have to do is to do tweet list plus equals, or actually append, I think. Yeah, append status dot text. And then we can print out the tweet list. So this would be a list of all the different tweets that I have. So I'm just going to specify focus again. And then this time I'm going to specify, let's say around 20 tweets, which is the same as last time. But let's see if it works. Okay. As you can see, these are all the different tweets that President Biden has texted. But if you look closely, you can see that some of the texts or some of the tweets are actually cut off. So here